Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Si ven pronto, Maranatha.
Let me start by reading you a statement by a U.S. president. Oh, the question is, who came forth with this announcement? We welcome the prospect of Israeli withdrawal from all of Gaza following the Israeli cabinet decision to endorse the Prime Minister's initiative. We look forward to the implementation of this decision and welcome and encourage such a step, which should provide a rare moment of opportunity in the search for peace in the Middle East. We hope that this disengagement initiative will stimulate progress towards peace in the region, the realization of Palestinian national aspirations, and the achievement of our common objective of two states. We view the plan as the way forward towards a comprehensive settlement and call on all parties to abide by their obligations under this plan. We will join with others in the international community to enhance humanitarian and economic conditions among the Palestinian people and to build democratic, transparent, and accountable Palestinian institutions. We will also work to help ensure security and stability in Gaza. We call on both sides to end all acts of violence. We urge and support the rebuilding and refocusing of Palestinian security services in accordance with a plan so that they enforce the rule of law, mount effective operations against all forms of terrorism, and report to an empowered Interior Minister and Prime Minister. We believe the important work to alleviate the humanitarian situation in Gaza must continue. We suggest that preparation should begin now for a meeting with the aim of revitalizing the economy there. We welcome and encourage international support for an accountable and transparent mechanism for receipt of international assistance. We also welcome plans to hold elections and believe that the task force on Palestinian reform should meet soon to assist in preparations to assure that these and subsequent elections will be fair and transparent and serve as the building block of democratic reform. We support close coordination between all groups involved in international assistance. So, George Bush 2004. Okay? In other words, this fantasy has been going on for a long time. This was 2004, and by 2006, Hamas completely ruled Gaza, and it was a complete state of war against Israel. All the same fine words. Israel is still being held to the Oslo Accords, okay? The Palestinians, they broke them within a week. But Israel is constantly being hit over the head with the Oslo Accords say you have to do this, that, and the other thing. Completely one-sided. The Oslo Accords were based on the idea that Palestinians would stop teaching hatred to the children, teaching jihad starting in kindergarten. And they didn't. I have clips of the Palestinian version of Sesame Street, and they have a dear little 4-year-old Muppet talking about how his grandparents were cruelly evicted from their homes by the Israelis. And they show a classroom of kindergartners, carrying plastic AK-47s, dancing around saying, "I'm going to kill Jews and the streets are going to run with blood." On that vein, I think I can show you something quite quickly. This is Gazans celebrating the peace, and then I'll translate what they're chanting. Why are they chanting? Kill the Jews, kill the Jews. K-Bar, K-Bar, kill the Jews. K-Bar was a famous battle in which Muhammad killed all the Jews. And they're chanting, K-Bar, K-Bar, kill the Jews. K-Bar, K-Bar, kill the Jews. This is them celebrating the peace treaty, right? So I guess that's a good background for me to read the terms of the peace treaty. Here's the peace treaty. The 20 points. Gaza will be a de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. The tanks in this army will be replaced by unicorns. No, I made that up. Sorry, never mind. I think that was one of the proposed terms that somebody decided was a little bit unrealistic, so we'll go with these unrealistic ones instead. Within 72 hours of Israel publicly accepting this agreement, all hostages, alive and deceased, will be returned. That's not going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen even with the alive ones, but there's a possibility that the alive ones will be returned within a week. Once all hostages are released, Israel will release 250 life sentence prisoners. Those are multiple murderers. Those are terrorists who have killed multiple people. Plus 1,700 Gazans who were arrested after October 7th, 2023. Most of those were, of course, terrorists. They weren't running around arresting people for being Gazan. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 deceased Gazans. Once all hostages are returned, Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence and to decommission their weapons will be given amnesty. I think I should read you the Hamas charter, right? Which is basically, you can't be in Hamas, you know, if you're not behind their charter, you know, if you don't believe in their charter, if you don't live by their charter. So here's their charter. Israel will exist and will continue to exist until Islam will obliterate it. Our struggle against the Jews is very great and very serious. The movement is but one squadron that should be supported by more and more squadrons until the enemy is vanquished and Allah's victory is realized. This is their charter in 1988. So this is before Gaza, you know, it's before any of this stuff, and this is still their charter, okay? They're going to agree, what was the line here? They will commit to peaceful coexistence. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. They can't simultaneously be members of Hamas and commit to peaceful coexistence. The Islamic resistance movement aspires to the realization of Allah's promise: the day of judgment will not come about until Muslims kill all the Jews, when the Jews will hide behind stones and trees, and the stones and trees will say, "O Muslims, O Abdullah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him." The slogan of Hamas: Allah is its aim, the Prophet is its model, the Quran its constitution, jihad is its path, and death for the sake of Allah is the loftiest of its wishes. Okay, so this is what Hamas says about their raison d'etre, their reason for existence, their constitution, their charter. What does President Trump say? Says, Hamas members who commit to peaceful coexistence and to decommission their weapons will be given amnesty. Okay, let's see here. Oh, this is a great one. Gaza will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee, responsible for delivering the day-to-day running of public services and municipalities for the people in Gaza. An apolitical Palestinian committee. Technocratic, temporary, transitional. Okay, there has never been a Palestinian leadership that peacefully abdicated power, left the position of power. There always has to be a war to replace one Palestinian leadership with another, because that's where Hamas came from. Apolitical, technocratic. Okay, this is unicorns. You know, this is Santa Claus coming down the chimney. I mean, this is like so far from reality. It's mind bending. Oh, the committee. This is point 9. The committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts, with oversight and supervision by a new international transitional body, the Board of Peace. which will be headed and chaired by President Donald J. Trump, with other members and heads of state to be announced, including former Prime Minister Tony Blair. This body will set the framework and handle the funding for the redevelopment of Gaza until such time as the Palestinian Authority has completed its reform program. You see, the Palestinian Authority, not only is Hamas going to become, peaceful breeders of bunny rabbits, but the Palestinian Authority is also going to become vegan and vegetarian, right? And raise, puppies. The Palestinian Authority is going to reform and stop wanting to take over Israel. Hamas is going to reform and stop wanting to kill the Jews and take over Israel. This is nuts. Until such time as the Palestinian Authority has completed its reform program and can securely and effectively take back control of Gaza. There was already a war in Gaza, by the way, between the Palestinian Authority and Hamas. Okay, as soon as Israel left Gaza, and they left Gaza to make it the beginning of an independent Palestinian state. This was the two-state solution. The plan was that they would turn Gaza over to the Gazans. They would have nothing to do with it except provide its infrastructure support, provide electricity and water and so forth for free. And the Palestinians would get all of the factories, all of the greenhouses that the Jews left behind, and they would see that it's better to be peaceful and productive and comfortable and well off and employed than to be terrorists, and there would be peace. Okay, that was the plan. So 2005, Israel leaves. It orders all the soldiers leave. It forces all of the Israelis who have built houses and factories and businesses in Gaza to leave and leave everything behind, forcibly removed them, turned everything over to the Palestinians. And what then happened? A shooting war between Hamas and Fatah, which is the PLO, the Palestinian Authority's military wing. A shooting war. They were killing each other. And Hamas won that war. Then it went around and killed all the Fatah members that were left alive, purged Gaza of Fatah members, and has ruled Gaza ever since. This war was in 2006. But all of this will go peacefully. Palestinian Authority isn't interested in war. Hamas isn't interested in war, killing Palestinians. It's ridiculous. Okay, we're really in a unicorn parade now, okay? A Trump economic development plan to rebuild and energize Gaza will be created by convening a panel of experts who have helped birth some of the thriving modern miracle cities in the Middle East. Many thoughtful investment proposals and exciting development ideas have been crafted by well-meaning international groups and will be considered to synthesize the security and governance frameworks to attract and facilitate these investments that will create jobs, opportunity, and hope for future Gaza. Where are they going to get these peaceful Gazans? October 7th was the greatest celebration ever in the population of Gaza. And this wasn't Hamas being, a couple of tens of thousands of people and 2 million Gazans just staying at home. This was 2 million Gazans celebrating the best thing that ever happened in the world. By the way, participating, of course, in the rape and slaughter and the invasion of Israel. Because once Hamas broke down the fences, ordinary Gazans flooded through to get their share of the fun, including raping and torturing and very sadistic acts. As a matter of fact, it is said that the most sadistic acts were actually done by the ordinary Gazans, that Hamas was a little bit more disciplined, at least in principle, and Hamas was focused on killing people and taking hostages. The civilians who rushed through were of course, 15 to 40-year-old men or something, who rushed through. They were there to have fun. They weren't there to bring back hostages. They weren't there to maximize the body count. They were there to have fun. So anyway, however, they're going to turn it into the, I don't know, new Hong Kong of the Middle East or something. They will synthesize the security and governance frameworks to attract and facilitate these investments that will create jobs, opportunity, and hope for future Gaza. Hamas and other factions agree to not have any role in the governance of Gaza, directly, indirectly, or in any form. I'm sorry, this is all military terror and offensive infrastructure, including tunnels and weapon production facilities, will be destroyed and not rebuilt. There will be a process of demilitarization of Gaza under the supervision of independent monitors, which will include placing weapons permanently beyond the use through an agreed process of decommissioning and supported by an internationally funded buyback and reintegration program, all verified by the independent monitors. Now, the independent monitors, you may remember, in Iran, who were to monitor the uranium enrichment sites and so forth, were immediately forced out by gunpoint, right? The independent monitors in Lebanon, who were to keep Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon, they ran the first time they were shot at them. These international monitors in Gaza are going to make sure that all of the weapons are confiscated and all of the infrastructure is destroyed. Look at what it took Israel to destroy tunnels in Gaza. They're going to do it with I don't know what. With airsoft guns or something. This is so funny. This is very cute too. Placing weapons permanently beyond use through an agreed process of decommissioning and supported by an internationally funded buyback and reintegration program. Okay, so here's what they're going to do. They are going to go into Gaza. They're going to offer to buy back everybody's guns. So they'll sell the guns back to the independent commission who will pay them, whatever that price is, $500, $1,000, $2,000 a gun. And then they will be reintegrated. Then they will turn around and give those guns to the Palestinian Authority. So, Ahmed in Hamas, at the, let's say, $2,000, travel 200 miles and get the gun back. I mean, really. Anyway, New Gaza will be fully committed to building a prosperous economy and to peaceful coexistence with their neighbors, something they were never interested in. A guarantee will be provided by regional partners to ensure that Hamas and the factions comply with their obligations and that New Gaza poses no threat to its neighbors or its people. Now, I'm going to the rest of this, unicorn cavalry plan, because this gets to the other part of what I want to talk about. Is
Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Ven Señor Jesús, Maranatha. Si ven pronto